friends. I'm Karen, and this is the Family Food for Moms podcast. We're talking about inspiration for family cooking and dining. Today, we're going to talk about date nights at home. My hubby and I often enjoy having our date nights at home. And for many years, we weren't really able to go out because our children were young and we didn't have babysitters that we wanted to use. And so we had date nights at home, and they've been so amazing. Now we have older children, adult children, and so we try to go out once a month to a place, but it is more expensive. So we still like to have 3 out of the month at home. So today I'm going to tell you how we do that, how they work, and give you some ideas for what you can do for date nights at home. We so enjoy doing this because somehow in your mind, when you set aside that time and you do something special, it helps so much with being close and connected. Good conversation, catching up, just really connecting. When there's kids always around, it's harder to do that. So we value that time so much. So sometimes we get takeout food from a nice place that we like. Often we'll get a couple of different things from different places to make it more interesting. And sometimes we'll make food at home, and I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But it's really not that big a deal because we're doing it together, and it really feels like part of the evening. We're relaxed, and so it's not like a stress to cook for beforehand. So one of our favorite date nights to have is a Swiss fondue. Swiss food is one of my favorites, and Switzerland being a place that I absolutely love, we like to do Swiss fondue. So sometimes we'll buy a pre-made fondue and just melt it, and other times we'll make our own from scratch using Emmentaler cheese and Gruyere cheese and a bit of white wine, and it's so delicious. So we dunk bread in there, we use sourdough, and we make chunks, and then we dunk it in there. But that's kind of only a part of the date night. What we like to do every week is one of 2 things. I'll tell you the second one later, which is a movie night. But often we like to be at the table and do other things in between, like play games. So the first thing we do is put on our date night playlist on a external speaker, whichever room we happen to be in. Sometimes we'll do a little bit of dancing in the middle while we're cooking or setting the table. And then we'll make the table beautiful. We'll put underplates, we'll put electronic candles, because I don't like the fumes from ordinary candles. We'll lower the lighting. We'll have a beautiful tablecloth and napkins, romantic ones. We'll use our gold cutlery, our fancy glasses, and all kinds of things on the table, like flowers or whatever we can think of. So I often do that part while my hubby does a few things like set up the lights. And then we'll have a first course, usually something like vegetables, zucchini with halloumi, or sometimes we get crab or vegetarian sushi. So we'll have our first course, and we'll put a special drink in the fridge as well, something like sparkling water Pellegrino or San Pellegrino drinks. And then we'll just relax and talk. And somehow it's so much easier to talk than usual because we're relaxed and it's just the 2 of us and we focused on that. Sometimes we also use couples conversation starter cards, and that helps sometimes to get the conversation going. Then we'll make our cheese fondue, melt it and set it all up on the table and enjoy that. It's also a nice slow food to eat while we chat. And then we'll usually slowly pack away and have dessert in front of a movie or a show we're watching. So we like to play a couple of games in the middle, something like Scrabble or Mastermind or a card game. And then sometimes we like to practice some dancing. So we'll look for a tutorial or something that I've saved off Instagram with a couple of dance moves that we practice, because we're not very good at that. And we're just sort of starting to learn. So it's a fun time to try out some ballroom dancing. Then sometimes when we want just a more relaxed evening, my hubby will pull out one of the couches in front of the projector and we'll choose a good movie. And then we'll have mainly finger food in different courses. So sometimes sushi and then some sweet and sour chicken, which is not finger food, but it still works well in a bowl that you can hold. Or like a charcuterie board where we have lots of meats and cheeses and grapes or other fruit, crackers, that kind of thing. Then it's really nice. You can just help yourself while you watch. Here's some more ideas of things you can do for date nights at home. An indoor picnic. Lay out a nice blanket on your living room floor. Pack a basket with finger food and snacks and cheese and some good drinks, and then enjoy the evening. You can sit on the floor on your blanket, or you can sit back to back, just chatting, pretending you're outside. You can even put a nice video clip from YouTube of like the beach and the ocean or something soothing that you enjoy. And then if you enjoy cooking, you can choose a type of cuisine that you enjoy, like French or Italian or Mexican, and then try your hand at making it. Or you can do what we do and order that kind of thing. Pick a recipe perhaps that you haven't made before and see how that goes. It can be filled with laughter if it goes wrong. But either way, you have lots of fun and hopefully enjoy some good food. Then an art evening. We've tried this. You each paint on canvas, or we enjoy oil, or actually oil-based non-oil paints. I can't remember what they're called, but they're not real oil and they're much healthier for you, but they act like oil. So we each had a canvas and a picture to copy and then paints. And we found it really easy to have good conversation while we're painting. Somehow when you're doing something like walking or a craft activity or painting, it's easy to chat. And then again, we had some finger foods on the side that we enjoyed. That was really fun. Sometimes just for fun, we've drawn each other with different facial expressions, and that's been quite cool. Of course, neither of us can do it in any way that's realistic, so it ends up rather hilarious. Stargazing, these days you get such great apps where you can hold up your phone and then tells you stars' names and where the planets are. It's quite gorgeous. And you can take your picnic outdoors and do some stargazing. And as it gets darker, you can tell fun stories or just gaze at the stars. That's always a wonderful thing to do. Pizza night. Have your own pizza bases made and then you add your own toppings. Get very creative and try all kinds of different things. Sometimes we like to make 6 different variations of pizza on one pizza. And then, as I mentioned before, ballroom dancing. Sometimes you may enjoy a different kind of dancing, but that's definitely our type. Ballroom dancing tutorials, like Carry On Dancing is a British lady. Or on YouTube, there's many. If you search for waltz tutorial, something like that, you can find some good stuff. Then reading aloud to each other. Reading poetry is always special. Reading passages of a book that you love and kind of telling the other person about the book and reading the good parts. Or reading a marriage book together, like taking turns reading a page to each other and then talking about it. And then you don't only do this when you're kids. You can build a fort using cushions and blankets or whatever furniture you have. Crawling in there with pillows and fairy lights and some snacks. Snuggle up, chat, be silly together, use a torch and make hand puppets on the wall, and just have a fun time together relaxing. Memory lane movies. Choose your oldest favorite movies and watch those together. Or look at some home videos or videos of you guys many years ago, or even of when you were young. Look at old photos, even old slides if you're that old. Or a photo shoot is great fun. Get dressed up or choose a few outfits like casual, fancy, and then have your own photo shoot. You'll need a tripod so that you can set up the self-timer and then do funny poses. You can wear different hats. You can use photo props. Use it to get some good photos of the two of you and have lots of fun in the meantime. You could learn a new skill together, like juggling, balloon folding animals type thing, origami, which is paper folding, or a basic dance routine, TikTok style, or a drawing tutorial like on YouTube again, or you get those drawing pages that are different steps that you start and then you add more and more detail. So if you're not so good at drawing, like I mentioned previously, then this kind of drawing is good for you. Or an ice cream bar. Your favorite toppings, sprinkles, whipped cream, chocolate syrup, candy, and different flavors of ice cream to make amazing ice cream sundaes and to mess a bit on each other in the process. Virtual travel. Choose a destination that you want to visit and then create a mini virtual trip. You can watch a documentary about it or a video on YouTube. You can read an article and then you can even eat the food from that place, look at the flag. You can do a fun trivia questions quiz for each other on that place. You can look at it and go there on Google Earth and find some of that local music to enjoy. So country-themed date nights. Then you could sit down and talk about your future plans and dream about what you want to do, where you want to visit, things you'd like to do in your business, life goals. Such a meaningful way to bond. And I remember doing this a lot when we lived in California. We used to go for long walks along the beaches or in Mountain View at Shoreline Park, this beautiful, huge park. And we would just talk, and somehow the best was walking. So it may not be as easy to sit down and talk, but if you sit cross-legged on the floor facing each other or on the couch one end to the other and you ask each other questions, then maybe your conversation can get going. And then a bucket list is a similar thing. Just write down a whole lot of things that you'd really like to do as a couple, whether it's with your kids or after your kids have left the home, travel goals, activities, any dreams you have is a great way to bond if you write them down together. Depending on whether you drink alcohol, you could do a wine tasting, or as we would do, maybe a soda tasting with some unusual drinks. You pop them all behind a piece of cardboard and you put a straw in each, and then you have to guess. Your partner sets it up and you have to taste and guess what each soda might be. And the last one I want to mention, I love this one, and that is to make a time capsule. So fill a box with memories, photographs, mementos from your relationship, anything that you maybe would forget about and look at again in however many years you want to dig it up, and bury it in your backyard, and then set a date and a reminder to dig it up in a year or two. And maybe you can write a letter to each other to include in that. That's a special one to do. Another special date night, or something you could do at one of your date nights, is to read your vows to each other. This is always very meaningful if you're sitting looking into each other's eyes and you're relaxed and together. And in a way, it's special when it's just the two of you, as opposed to being in front of a crowd of others. You can slow down and take your time and read through the vows and make it really meaningful, and even talk about some of the things that you found hard or that you want to update or add to. So reading your vows at your date night. I also wanted to mention that when we have a date night, the kids know in advance and they know what to do. Usually they're going to be upstairs by about 7:30 p.m. and they expect this night to be earlier. They have books to read, they take showers. So they have an early dinner, and we always have kind of the same dinner that they really enjoy, which is a chicken pie, like a chicken pot pie, and some homemade chips or French fries, and some sort of vegetable with that, and then a dessert similar to what we'll be having at our date night, like chocolate mousse. So they really enjoy their dinner. They know that's coming. It's a little bit earlier, and then they are able to go upstairs, and we have the run of the downstairs area for our date night, whether it be in the living room or the dining room or the kitchen. So that helps to make it easy. I don't have to cook a big meal for them. I can just warm whatever we're going to have, because I didn't say we buy the pie. We don't make it. And then, yeah, we're good to go. Oh, and I was also going to mention like a bonfire or any kind of grill in your backyard when it's just the two of you can be very fun. You can grill marshmallows or make s'mores or just enjoy a barbecue that's just the two of you. So I hope you have some good ideas for at-home date nights, and I hope that you have special fun trying some of these ideas out. Thanks for listening. See you next time.